Hello everyone, today is 9th of April, now it's 10 past 3, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment, and I will start with a short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. According to reports from Russian media and Russian military channels, Russian armed forces improved their positions in Orekhov bridgehead area on the northern western side of Verbova. Also, Russian armed forces conducted some successful local-scale offensive operations on the northern side of Novomikhailivka and are trying, as I understand, to cut supply and support lines of Ukrainian garrison in western part of Novomikhailivka. Also, Russian armed forces increased pressure on Ukrainian units in Krasnogorovka direction, and assault operations were conducted. And right now, according to several military channels, Russian armed forces re-establish their foothold in southern part of Krasnogorovka, and town itself. Ukrainian positions in this town are under heavy bombardment. Also, several channels, by the way, are reporting that Ukrainian units left Pervomaiskaya and the settlement under full Russian control now, and forward units of Russian forces closing into Nitailova. Probably Nitailova gonna be next next hotspot on the southern part of Avdiivka sector. When it comes to Avdiivka sector, also, by the way, several channels are reporting yet again that Russian armed forces established control over the Semyonovka and the Berdichi settlements. For several days now, reports are coming in that these two settlements are under Russian control. Without photo or video confirmation, difficult to say, but most likely information is correct, and Russian sides are at least controlling vast parts of both these settlements. Also, significant developments in Chisovyar direction. Russian armed forces, according to reports that I see, established control over the Berdichi, Berdichi also, but over the Bogdanovka, by the way. I'm short on time and a little nervous because of it. I have to record this update as short as possible. So Bogdanovka, by the way, is under full Russian control on the northern side of Chisovyar, and according to some reports, forward units of Russian armed forces even conducting operations in vicinity of Kalinina, which is also, of course, on northern side of Chisovyar. When it comes to this canal district of the city itself, Russian armed forces already established control over the most eastern part of this town, most eastern outskirt of this district, and also at least 30 or 40% of Dachi area is also under Russian control, according to reports. Probably in upcoming days, maybe even today, we will see some. We will receive some information about battles inside the industrial zone, of this canal district of Chisovyar, and I would not be surprised at all if Russian forces will manage to establish control over the canal district even before end of next week. Some experts are saying that it may happen even this week, but no, I don't know about that. But before end of next week, probably Russian forces will establish control over that canal district. Also, a series of reports about Russian progress in Belogorovka area. I saw information on military summary channel also about Russian progress in Belogorovka area, which is significant, of course. And Dima from military summary expects that Russian forces may even further improve significantly their positions in upcoming days. Also, of course, Russian forces increasing pressure on Ukrainian units in Razdolovka, Fyodorovka area. And this is it when it comes to short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. During the night time, Russian armed forces conducted number of strikes against military and logistical infrastructure of Kiev regime in several directions: Nikolaev region, Odessa region, Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkov, some western regions also. and quite effective videos even are circulating on internet about this precise strikes. But I will continue with some other news now. Vzglyad newspaper is reporting that according to director of the FSB, Russian Security Service, Alexander Bortnikov, investigation into Crocus City Hall terrorist attack that happened recently on outskirts of Moscow. Investigation has evidences that Ukrainian nationalists and Western secret services were using extremist forces to conduct this terrorist attack against Russia on Russian soil. Strong statements from Bortnikov, but yet again, let's wait before investigation will come up with final conclusions, and after that, most likely we will see some decisions from Moscow, and possibly some very serious actions will be taken. RIA Novosti is also reporting that today Kiev regime conducted yet another strike on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, and one of the Ukrainian drones hit roof of one of the buildings in ZNPP. In that building there was a training center, no reactor, training center for personnel, but still it's a nuclear power station, and Kiev regime day in day out continues to increase strikes on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. And well, this is very dangerous situation, and Kiev regime clearly taking hostage entire world with these strikes on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. What else you should expect from those terrorists, by the way, and mass murderers and neo-Nazis? I mean, Zelensky and his criminal associates. What else do you expect from them? One may only hope that Russian air defense systems will be able to neutralize a majority of Kiev regime's drones, and there will be no nuclear accident in ZNPP. I remind you, this is biggest nuclear power station in Europe. Also, by the way, RT is reporting exactly about strikes that I mentioned on military and logistics infrastructure of Kiev regime. And on this video, by the way, you can see precise strike of Russian Iskander, I believe, missile on a manufacturing plant that was destroyed. This plant was used in Zaporozhye, by the way, in Zaporozhye. This plant was used by Kiev regime forces to produce drones. And as you can see, strike was really effective. Also, Vzglyad newspaper is reporting about Russian strike in Poltava, almost in the central part of Poltava, which is controlled by Kiev regime, of course, for now. And according to this information, Russian forces neutralized a large point of concentration of Ukrainian forces, or Kiev regime forces, let's say. This way, no detailed information about number of casualties on part of Kiev regime, but strike was precise and successful. Vzglyad newspaper also reporting that Russian air defense system shut down Ukrainian Neptune missile over the Black Sea early hours of today. Unfortunately, Kiev regime still has a means of long-range strikes in its hands. RT is reporting that head of commander of Ukraine's land forces, Alexander Pinchuk, went full crazy mode during one of these his statements, and said that everybody in Ukraine will be mobilized and no one will be able to hide anywhere. These people, I mean, these individuals that are running and ruining Ukraine, they are quite often contradicting each other, because this so-called general, head of ground forces of Kiev regime, is saying that mobilization will take everybody, while head of general staff Syrskyi just recently said that there is no need to mobilize 500,000, and Zelensky is also saying similar stuff, that, I mean, according to their latest calculations, they don't need 500,000 to be mobilized. But same time, by the way, Zelensky just recently issued a decree, and now Kiev regime force is mobilizing, Kiev regime is mobilizing not from 27 year but 25 year. And that's definitely indicator that they have some issues, some serious issues with the manpower. And also in so-called parliament of Ukraine, there is a draft bill according to which after everybody should be mobilized after 18 years. 18 years, by the way. So Kiev regime is considering to mobilize youth also. And they will probably in a fairly short time. We have so many indicators that show us that Zelensky and his criminal associates will sacrifice every single citizen of Ukraine for the pennies that they are stealing or receiving from the West and for geopolitical agenda of their Western masters. They will sacrifice everybody. Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that, press spokesman of State Department Matthew Miller commented on perspectives of prospect of Ukraine joining NATO, and said that once this conflict will end, Ukraine will join NATO. I don't know, man. I don't know who asked him this question, and I don't know why he is answered this way when everybody understands perfectly well at this point that Ukraine will never ever join NATO. It's just not happening. There will be no Ukraine left after this conflict. So what this Matthew Miller is talking about? Crazy. RT is reporting that, Robert Fico, Prime Minister of Slovakia, said he would not be surprised if EU cuts funding to the country after the victory of Social Democrat Peter Pellegrini in presidential elections. And I wanted to share with you this information, by the way, just to highlight what EU, European Union, has become. That Slovakia's Prime Minister now is openly saying that he would not be surprised if Brussels will now punish Slovakia and Slovakian people for voting in elections and choosing their next president and voting for their next president. So Brussels basically is, and Brussels constantly talking about democracy, isn't it? Brussels unelected officials constantly are talking about democracy and elections and this and that and freedom of speech, and in reality, by the way, they recognize only one democracy. It's when whatever they want, that's democracy. If you are against it, that's not democracy. If you are agree with them with everything, then you are okay. But if you don't, then you don't have any rights at all. No basic human rights, no nothing. That's EU values, by the way. That's EU values that these Brussels bureaucrats are love to talk about so much. That's a clear example of EU values. Unbelievable. Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that, British foreign minister, former prime minister and current foreign minister, David Cameron, visited US. Probably he is still in US, and he had a meeting with Donald Trump. During that meeting, according to article that was published in Daily Telegraph, politicians discuss Ukrainian crisis, discuss Middle Eastern crisis, some other topics, but information itself that current foreign minister of UK is visiting politician that is not official yet. He may become and probably will become next president of US, but right now he is not official in US. And Cameron is visiting him to, have some chat, exchange of opinions, to know where Trump's stands are on some topics. That's quite a demonstration of power that Trump has, really. That's how it is. Like it or not, but Trump and whatever forces are behind him, they definitely are very influential. Kommersant newspaper is reporting that according to calculations of Bloomberg, G7 countries will spend more than 10 trillion on rearmament in next 10 years. Quite impressive, by the way, quite impressive. Western taxpayers will pay another 10 trillion for US military industrial complex and multinational corporations. Okay. Can you imagine how much good could be done with this 10 trillion in the Western states, in G7 countries, for example? But this money will most likely go to enrich multinational corporations instead of supporting citizens of G7 countries. But it is what it is, man. RT is reporting that Canada considers nuclear submarine option, or diesel submarines are not enough for current leadership of Canada. They want nuclear submarines, and well, if Australia will get ones, then why Canada should not? Probably Canada will sign some contracts with US, and I believe US military-industrial complex will be happy to receive billions of dollars from Canada and to build some nuclear subs from them also. But these nuclear subs will come with some serious difficulties, including where they're gonna put this nuclear waste. Canada is a huge country, by the way, second biggest country in this world by land mass after Russia. Russia is number one, Canada is second. But still, by the way, I don't think citizens of Canada are gonna be happy to learn that in some areas there will be no-go zone because of nuclear waste. Anyway, and probably US will dump its nuclear waste also there. There are talks that US will use contract with Australia to dump its nuclear waste in Australia, and Canada is closer, by the way, and of course Canada also will be used by US as a dump yard for its nuclear waste. And well, let's continue. Zglad newspaper is reporting that Russia calls UN to receive Palestine as a full member in the organization, and well, if this initiative from Russia will gain momentum and full support among UN nations, and if Palestine will become a full member of UN, then that will be a big step, of course, towards two-state solution, towards implementation of two-state solution. TASS news agency is reporting that head of CIA is once again getting involved in this Israeli-Palestinian conflict and initiates some another ideas to de-escalate. He calling for Hamas to release hostages and Israel to cease hostilities. But yet again, at this point, Netanyahu probably, I mean, don't listen to nobody, even to his most closest allies in the West. Although, by the way, we know how US politicians are acting quite often, isn't it? Publicly, they may say one thing, but in reality, they may do something exactly the opposite. For example, when it comes to Israeli-Palestinian conflict, publicly, there was quite critical statements towards Israel, slightly critical, by the way, towards Israeli actions, especially because of the extreme levels of casualties among civilians. But while mentioning this topic, US was simultaneously transferring thousands of tons of munition and weapon systems to Israel. So that's just objective reality on the ground. You cannot take seriously at this point any statement from any high-ranking official of US or collective West for that matter, with very few exceptions, by the way, with very few exceptions. Anyway, let's continue. Kommersant newspaper is reporting that Armenia and Azerbaijan are now blaming each other for shelling each other's territories on the border and for border skirmishes. Quite unfortunate development, but yet again, I was always, while commenting on situation between Armenia and Azerbaijan, I was always saying that most likely Azerbaijan will try to maintain these tense relationships with Armenia, because I believe Azerbaijan wants to create a land bridge between mainland Azerbaijan and Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic, which is bordering Turkey, Armenia, and Iran, but has no connection, direct link with Azerbaijan, and therefore, I guess at some point Azerbaijan probably will try to establish this land bridge. Although, by the way, there is so many forces, influential forces involved in Southern Caucasus region right now, that chances that things will de-escalate between Azerbaijan and Armenia are probably lower than ever. Vzglyad newspaper is reporting that Russian foreign minister had a meeting with his Chinese colleague during two-day trip to China yesterday and today. 1E. So during the negotiations with 1E, both sides discuss a number of topics, and one of the major point of discussion was countermeasures from BRICS and Shanghai Cooperation Organization, countermeasures towards these illegal Western sanctions and illegal Western pressure on countries and businesses for cooperating with each other. And by the way, this is very important topic, of course, because I'm saying almost on every single news update that it is immensely necessary alternative financial and banking system to be created in this world, alternative to the Western one, and which is weaponized by Western ruling class. It's just too obvious. And also alternative world reserve currency is needed, and hopefully BRICS and Shanghai Cooperation Organization will finally make some announcements about these topics. Let's see. I expect some serious statements to be made and serious steps to be made in this direction already this year. That's how important this topic really is for entire world, by the way, for entire world. And also same topics were discussed during the meeting between Sergei Lavrov, Russian foreign minister, and Chinese leader Xi Jinping, and both sides of course highlighted the strategic level of partnership between the two sides, two countries, relationships, and expressed the opinions that things should stay as they are on strategic level, and should get even better relationships between two countries. Okay, let's continue with this news now. RT is reporting that US pledges to prevent Russia from developing new energy project. US is aiming to halt the development of Russian energy sector, including a major new LNG project in the Arctic. Senior State Department official Jeffrey Pitt has stated, speaking at the Financial Times Summit on Monday. Pitt stated that the US is specifically targeting the Arctic LNG-2 project in Russia's northern Yamal region, which is being developed by private energy giant Novatek. And when US high-ranking officials are threatening some energy projects, by the way, it's serious. We all know what they mean, isn't it? I mean, we know what happened with the Nord Stream pipelines, and US officials, high-ranking officials, were quite direct and open about their terrorist intent. They were saying openly that this project, Nord Stream pipelines, will not work, and they blew up it. They destroyed that pipeline, by the way. Biggest act of industrial terrorism since ever was conducted by US current government, Biden's administration. So when this whoever this guy is, Jeffrey Pitt, is when he's saying that the US is concentrated to distract this LNG-2 project in Arctic, I mean, the Russian side should take him seriously, because who knows, man? Who knows what might happen? Maybe they are so crazy that they will conduct now terrorist attack on Russian soil on this project. I don't know, man, but I mean, that's how strange these times really are, man. That's how strange these times really are. But it is what it is. And by the way, RT is reporting, I will end this update on this news, that boss of JP Morgan a giant financial institution, of course. Jimmy Dimon is giving a warning to the West that US may face worst risks since World War II, and he is mentioning several reasons for that. First of all, he is not happy that US have been challenged on the world stage. Of course, Western ruling elites will need some time to realize that they no longer are dominant force in this world without being challenged. And also this boss of JP Morgan articulated long-term influence of on geopolitics and the West, consequences of Ukrainian crisis, Middle Eastern crisis, and some other developments. But yet again, I believe a quite short update, by the way. I believe dominance of the Western ruling class will finally be halted after BRICS will come up with the alternative financial and banking system and alternative world reserve currency. Until then, one way or another, but Western ruling class will maintain at least some sort of dominance over this world, because they are monopoly right now when it comes to finances. But once alternatives will be created, then that's it. Anyways, this is it for now. Late update today. As I said, I'm quite short on time, and it's good that I managed to record at least this short video. Hopefully you will find it informative, interesting, and useful, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. Let's challenge once again these algorithms. By the way, I don't know how many likes and comments video needs to have before algorithm will start showing video in recommendation, but if it's not, I mean, if you can, please click that like button and leave some commentary. Let's challenge this algorithm. And by the way, before I go, let me notice, if I may, that this project is subscriber funded, of course. And if you find my channels, my programs interesting, informative, useful, and if you think this channel, for example, deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, on which, by the way, I have some extra content on regular basis. And for example, this Saturday I will publish a new episode of Streets of Moscow, which will be in 2 parts, and hopefully Patreon community will find that video interesting. I'm gonna do some montage now. I already recorded video. I need some small montage to be done, and it's ready. So anyway, by the way, all the links to my PayPal, Boosty, and Patreon is under this video in this description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.